Flat earthers and Bible believers are going ham over this new discovery.
Guys, science made a new discovery. Well, it's not actually new, but more on that in a minute. Yeah, Northwestern University discovered that there's an ocean underneath the Earth, 700 kilometers underneath the Earth.
First thing, that article from, or that discovery from Northwestern University was actually done in 2014. So it's not new, but he did admit it's really not new, but just kind of wipe right on over that one. And he said 700 kilometers, but it's actually 400 kilometers beneath the Earth.
It's 3 times the volume of the surface level oceans of the Earth. So yeah, like lots of water. How crazy is that? Well, it's really...
So if this creator had actually read the article, to which he apparently did not read the article, or if he read it but only sniffed out actual parts that would support his narrative, then he would have read that what the scientists said was that if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. But if 1% of the ringwoodite stone rock that is found to hold H2O at this depth had water in it, then it would equal to 3 times the amount of water that we have on the ocean floor. But the problem is that it's an if. And the reason why it is an if, because they have only found this very tiny piece of ringwoodite stone, and so they cannot make a full assessment without having more of this ringwoodite stone, which was thrown up from a volcanic eruption. And the problem is that we cannot go that far under the Earth. We've only went 8 miles. So what they're using is seismic radar in order to determine what the composition of the Earth is. And when you use seismic radar, depending upon how fast the waves travel as it penetrates the Earth, it is then estimated or determined what the composition of the Earth is inside or below that 8 miles that we have already dug. So therefore, it is an if 1% contain water, and that's a big ass if.
Crazy because you believe this. Do you remember we were taught this? That the Earth was one big solid ball? Yeah, it's not like that. And how would they have known it was like that? Because the furthest man ever dug down into the Earth is less than 8 miles. And as I said, this is not new information, because God told man this thousands of years ago. Do you remember the flood of Noah? First the windows of heaven were open, then also the great deep broke forth. Here's what biblical cosmology looks like. Yeah, there's waters above, there's waters around, and there's waters underneath.
So as I said, I don't think that this creator actually read the entire article, or maybe did not understand what the article was saying. This article does not prove that there was an ocean beneath the water, beneath the ocean, another ocean beneath the ocean that would have been 3 times as much, since it's only estimated that if 1% of the ringwoodite stones contain water, then it would be 3 times. But that it would be a virtual impossibility for that water to be able to reach the surface. The main reason why is because what the scientist Jacobson said in the article is that when the ringwoodite stones are pressed down into the upper mantle, which is the first part of the mantle, which he is then accepting and describing what would be a spherical Earth, then that ringwoodite would release its water in dehydration melting, and then it would theoretically become liquid, or some type of liquid that would still be in the upper mantle area. But if that water were to ever try to come above the ringwoodite, it cannot, because it would get trapped in the transition zone, because the stones above that do not contain any water. So that water would literally be trapped either in the ringwoodite stones, or it would be even deeper into the Earth, and therefore it would not be able to rise up into our normal zone, because it would get absorbed by all the ringwoodite water. So the Noah flood, this does not prove the Noah flood in any way, shape, or form.
Check out the second commandment, Exodus 20 verse 4. God tells us not to make graven images, no likenesses of things from heaven, likenesses things from inside the earth, and also no likenesses of the things in the waters underneath the earth. So guys, this is not new. Science is finally catching up.
The second commandment in Exodus, which speaks of not making any graven images of anything in the air, on the earth, or in the waters, and the waters underneath the earth, is in no way an indication of proving that they knew about ringwoodite rock, or that there was a great deep under the earth. What they were most likely describing was the fact that they knew that as far as water underneath the earth, we're talking about a desert region where digging a well and understanding that there are wells of spring water that is below their level of surface understanding, and they will be able to draw water from that. This would not be the same type of water that would be the waters that are described as far as the ringwoodite stones are concerned with. This would just be the waters that they understood from underground springs. So this is not water underneath the earth, and they were talking about this type of water. Neither were they talking about the lake of highly salinated water that we have found in the Gulf of Mexico. That wouldn't fit either, because I know someone is going to bring that aspect of that discovery up as well. And that's an old discovery, and we went through the same process when they discovered that. So the waters underneath the oceans and what's in the oceans is something that we have barely much knowledge of today, and they knew even less knowledge of it back then. And like I said, they were talking about underground springs. They were not talking about ringwoodite water. What they also were most likely thinking about was, as far as the waters below, they understood their cosmology, that in the beginning there was an abyss, a primordial waters. And this is also the same type of mentality that they had when they were taking from the story of the Kemetic people with Jeb and Nut and being the primordial waters below salt water, as well as Anu and Tiamat, as far as Tiamat being the primordial waters that Marduk then created the entire planet and the universe with. So this is harking back to that understanding that was already pretty prevalent in this region, and not that they understood, or God was trying to secretly telling them about ringwoodite stone, because this guy just knew they weren't smart enough to be able to understand it fully. They were just taking from other people's creation stories.
Before you know it, they're going to be telling us about the waters above outer space. Don't hold your breath on that one. But until then, continue to read your Bible and trust God. Love you guys.
Now, I'm not sure if he meant that last part by saying that they'll be telling us about the waters above, but don't hold your breath, as an indicator of him believing that there's an impenetrable dome that we would never be able to penetrate, and therefore they wouldn't be able to tell us, or that if they already know about it, or if they discover it and are able to go beyond this impenetrable dome, that they wouldn't tell us about it at that standpoint either. But the problem with all of that is that they would not be able to hide the information of there being an impenetrable dome, and if they were to be able to pierce that dome, then it would just consistently and continuously rain down water on a consistent basis. But since we've sent satellites like Voyager 1 and 2 out into deep space, I think that kind of gets rid of that entire idea and thought process of there being some impenetrable dome around the earth, and that we can't escape that. And I know I'm gonna get some flat earthers who say that we never sent Voyager 1 or Voyager 2 out into deep space. We never sent satellites to the sun and all these sorts of things. But if you want to keep believing this Bible and keep ignoring what we have discovered scientifically, then that's all on you. I'll choose the science. So y'all have a great day. And remember always, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.